What is up? What is up? What is up, everybody? This is your boy Is Nefarious, and I am here for another episode following the career of GM Neff in NHL 25. And we are here to tackle the off season. If you're enjoying the content, please like, comment, subscribe. It does a lot to help out this channel. But we are here for the off season, everybody's favorite time where the teams change, the trades happen, the draft, everything happens, all the fun happens here, and its salary cap will be going up. 98 million will be the new salary cap, and the maximum player salary cap is 19.6. I wonder if somebody would get that, maybe a Connor McDavid or somebody like that. He's potentially in this free agency class. Taking a look at the draft lottery results, we actually end up 11th. Minnesota goes up from 10 to 1. Minnesota with an absolute steal, but we ended up at number 11. So we have a pretty decent pick this draft after missing the playoffs, which is something we don't like. We don't like missing the playoffs, but we missed it, and we got a decent pick, having pick 11. Maybe a year too late on that. Maybe we could have had that previously. That's what it seems to be in real life with the Boston Bruins going on right now. But we got the draft to talk about. What are we gonna do? We have left defenseman, we have right defenseman. Maybe even could get a better right defenseman to kind of come up and help out. But before we get into all that draft stuff, let's talk about getting one of our tasks complete. We got to get the club seats up by one level, which we just did, and we complete at least one task. We could end up fired after all this. We don't know. We're going to be doing the draft, taking a look into some of the progression. Not much there to talk about. Going into the NHL entry draft, we are the 11th overall pick. We'll see if somebody's willing to trade. It doesn't look like any of the top picks are willing to trade besides Buffalo, who's willing to give up 7. But from 7 for 14, is it worth it? We might as well go see what we could do on the trades. But we got Korpisalo, who we could trade, and we got 4 offers for Korpisalo. One from the two from the Capitals, one from the Avalanche, actually 3 from the Capitals. We're gonna go with the one for the Avalanche though. Giving up a second and a fourth, I think we could go with that one. We tried to dangle out Swayman out there to see if anybody bit. Nobody did, so we went with Korpisalo. We traded him away to the Avs for a second and a fourth. We also have Zadorov, what we have to make a decision on. We'll see if he's with us for the ride. Moving on though, checking out the draft picks, we're gonna go see if we could either shop our pick or go get the Buffalo Sabres pick. And we couldn't get the Buffalo Sabres pick because they want Zacha, Kuznetsov and a third, and we're not into giving up Kuznetsov and Zacha and another pick on top of that. So we're gonna hold on to 11. It's not worth it going up to 7 for that, especially in this draft class. I don't think so, especially if you're not gonna get Gavin McKenna, who goes to the Calgary Flames. Dodge goes to the Sharks. Burchild goes to the Seattle Kraken. Velteni goes to the Montreal Canadiens. You got Robrek, who goes to the Sabres. Preston goes to the Utah Hockey Club. And then Chicago takes Joe Iginla. We were actually interested in Joe Iginla. We might have took Joe Iginla if he was there. Now we got to make a decision on who we're going to pick. And we got a few different options that we could go with when it comes to this pick, but we're going to go with Elton Hammerson, who looks like a good right wing / center. We could play that right side, and we have no depth on that right side. So we go with Hammerson, who could play both center and the right wing. Seems to be a pretty good pick. Didn't have crazy options, but I think we made a good option there. We're also going to try to trade for the 13th overall pick, since we've seen it that it was on the block. Unfortunately, they don't want to trade it for anything that we would be willing to give up. You want Kuznetsov, Patras, and players like that, so we pass on that, and we just go ahead and get to the next pick after seeing what else is out there. Nothing really worth it, because we're going to have a pick at number 28 overall. So 28 overall, we take a look at some of the guys, and then we ended up picking the 6'6" center Rogowski, who looks like a really solid piece, somebody that's that big and probably could skate pretty well. So a good pick there. We get a center, we get a right wing, we get offered a couple picks for our third round pick, a couple 6th round picks. Definitely don't want that. So we go back into the draft. We're trying to see if we could get somebody that could really help out this team. Maybe somebody on the right-handed defenseman like Sedin, who's 6'5", 216, and fits exactly what we're looking for in in defensemen. So we grabbed Sedin, who helps out that right side of defenseman, and then we also have another option to help out that right side of defenseman. We already got 2 lefty coming up. We need 2 solid right D to come up with them, and we get Ryland Singh as well in this draft to go ahead and help out that depth that we have at right defenseman. And here on our next pick, we see Matteo Bednar, who looks pretty good, the German, and Nolan Draisaitl, Nolan Paterka, and some of these Germans that have been coming out recently. We grab ourselves a German center there in Bednar, and then we grab Peterson with our last pick on the left wing to add a little bit more depth on that left wing. So our draft was Hemerson, Rogowski, Sedin, Singh, Bednar, and Peterson, which we're happy with. We're happy with our draft. We grabbed a couple right-handed defensemen. Hopefully they pan out to be pretty well. We'll find out later on when we go into preseason. But I feel like it's a good draft. But now we got to tackle the free agency, because we got to figure out what we're going to do with this team. Are we going to bring back Duchesne? Are we going to find somebody better in free agency? Is McDavid going to be in free agency? As you can see, we fired our coach because he was terrible. We had a 6-year deal, but we fired him immediately after missing the playoffs. He was our scapegoat for this team. So we're going to get a better coach come next season. Talking about the team, we got plenty of decisions to make. Who are we going to bring back? Are we going to bring back Duchesne? Are we going to see what's in free agency before we negotiate with Duchesne, because he did have a good season. Duchesne was actually really good for us. We have Fabian Lysell, who's a restricted free agent. Are we going to bring him back? Are we going to bring back Vesalainen? Are we going to bring back Veal? This is a bunch of questions that we have. And what we're doing right now is we're going to break down what we have. In first line, we got Middlestat, Zaka, and Pasternak. I don't know if I love that first line. Maybe we'll get somebody better, but that's our first line right now. So we got to figure out if we're going to bring back anybody else that could potentially play that first line left wing, like Duchesne. Lauko's already signed. He's going to be a 4th line left winger. You also have questions about who's going to be on that 2nd and 3rd line, and we're putting it right at the top so we could kind of understand where we are. Vesalainen is probably going to come back because he's a good AHLer for us. He had a pretty good season. If he's going to come back cheap enough, we'll take him back, and we're offering him a 2-way contract. He's interested in it, full interest in the 2-way, so we're going to take him back on a 2-way as he accepts that offer. So now we got Vesalainen, who we know is going to play that top 6 in the AHL, which is pretty good. Like we said, we want to treat the AHL with respect, and we want to treat it like we want them to win a Calder Cup as well. Elias Lindholm is going to be either 1C or 2C, probably 2C. As you can see there, we got a question mark on who's going to be that left wing on the side of him. Could be Middlestat if we get a better left wing to play on that first line. Could be somebody else. As far as right wing, a question there. Who's going to run the right wing next to Lindholm? We don't have to put Bork there. We were checking to see if we still have that promise. No longer have that promise to him, so now we can move Bork out of that top 6 place, so we don't have to worry about him being upset about it. So with Bork not needing to be top 6, now we can move him to that 3rd or 4th line. Patras is a good option for that 2nd line right wing. He's young, he's 84 overall, he's 22. I think he'd be a perfect fit for that right wing on Lindholm's line, so we're going to throw him there, but he's a RFA, so we're either going to qualify him or get a contract offered. It depends on how much he wants. Now, he didn't play a lot in the NHL, so I'm hoping that the price won't be too crazy, but you never know with these players, and what the game kind of decides what these players want. Talking about Kostelic, he didn't want to resign, so we released him immediately. Like I said, we only resign the guys that want to be re-signed to the team. If it says no on the extension, we have to let them go. That's one of our house rules per se. So looking at Brett Harrison, he could come back as a 4th line AHLer. He's still got some time to develop. He is 23 years old, so he's a younger piece that we want to develop. So he comes back. He's willing to accept that. So he comes back on a 1-year deal, 2-way contract. And as I said, we still got pressing matters like who's going to be that second line right wing. As you can see, we got Patras written down. We're going to enter negotiations and see how much he actually wants to come back to Boston. He doesn't seem really interested in the organization, even though he does want to re-sign. So let's see what he says. Rebuilding is something I'm interested in, but I'm open to possibilities because we are a hopeful team. He wants to be in a pure rebuild team for some reason. probably due to his age and his potential. He wants to make the AHL team, so he wants 2 years, about $3 million. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just qualify him, just to put him down as protected, and we'll see if we have to match somebody's offer or if we have to go in later on and try to get him. We're gonna also offer Kuntar, who's gonna be a AHL type of guy. We offer him a two-way. He's interested in it, but the contract bar didn't seem like it was there, but he's interested in a two-way. So we offer that to see what he says. Right now we're just gonna wait for his response. Veal, we're probably not gonna be bring back. There's no reason to bring him back if we're gonna have Kuntar. We want to improve that AHL because we just missed the playoffs with that AHL team. So let's see if we can improve that and make that a better team. Kubo was okay. I don't think he's in our future plans. Julian Gauthier we have for a little bit longer. He's gonna be on that AHL squad, either first, second, or third line. Justin Brazeau as well. We liked Wagner. We're gonna see if Wagner will take a two-way. If he does, they could stay on. If not, it is what it is. He's open to a two-way contract, but he's not fully invested, as you could see with that bar. That contract bar was about halfway. It really wasn't up there, so he's probably going to reject that. Going in Ryder Ralston, he's RFA. We could bring him back nice and cheap, most likely. He's open to a two-way. He's fully interested, and as you can see, that blue bar was all the way full on that contract, so he signs right away. So Ryder Ralston's back with us. He's probably going to play that fourth line right wing in the AHL. So we kind of getting the AHLs all set. We're going to offer Lettieri. Speaking of AHL, he's somebody that could potentially play there. We offer him a two-way. He's not fully interested, but we'll see if he re-signs as we offer that two-way. Veal, not really interested in him. Moving on, we got Brazeau. Like I said, we could bring him back if he's cheap. If he's cheap, we could bring him back. Two-way contract. He's not interested in the two-way, so we're gonna let him walk. Talking about Kubel as well, offer him a two-way contract. He said he's open to it, but again, that contract bar is not that high, so I don't think he will resign. Kind of like Lettieri. If they don't, they'll have to walk to free agency at this point. Taking a look at Ben Hutton, see if he'll be able to resign and see what he wants. He wants a 2-year deal, short-term deal for $800K. We're totally on board for that. We offer him that contract. He's a good 7th D to have. Going to Ian Mitchell, offering him to see if he wants a two-way, because we don't see him being that 7th D. He doesn't want to get a two-way, so we walk away from Ian Mitchell. Brunet, who's one of our better developing left defensemen. He's top 6 medium. He's been developing real nice. We're going to offer him a two-way and see if he wants it. Since he wants a 1-year contract, we were going to see if he wants multiple. He didn't, so we're going to end the conversation. We're going to go back and offer him a 2-year deal. A 1-year deal that's a two-way. So offer him a 2-way contract. He's open to it. He's fully invested or fully interested, so we can get him back on board nice and easy. He accepts that offer, so we got him for 1 more year. Clegg, we're not really interested in bringing back at this point. As a 76 overall, we'd rather give some time to the younger guys. So talking about the team, this is what we're looking like. First line, don't know who the left wing is. Zaka Pasternak, Middlestat, Lindholm, Patras, Kuznetsov, Glassborg, Lauko, Beecher in question mark. Lorai and McAvoy on the first pair. Lindholm, Yokiharu, and Mizyul in question mark on that third pair. So we got to make some decisions on who is going to be back with this team. We thought about Ian Mitchell for a second. Not going to do that. We got a big question mark on who's going to be the third pair right D, because we're not going to bring back Peak at this point. And who's going to be that fourth line right wing, and who's going to be that first line left wing. Couple questions that we have there. Taking a look at some of the young guys in Vilchinski and Sasha. They're both developing real nicely, but they're not ready to be signed. Warner, we're going to see if he wants to come back. We're going to offer him a 1-year deal, but at this point, like I said, we're going to end this conversation, offer him a 2-way contract if he just wants 1 year anyway. So we go back in, we offer him a 2-way. He's into taking a 2-way, so the interest bar is fully blue, so he comes back right away. So he'll be on that second pair or third pair on the AHL squad. Definitely not the answer for us in the NHL, as we know, for that third pair defenseman in the NHL, especially if we want to compete. Ryan Mast is another one, wanted a 1-year deal, so we back out, end the conversation, give him a two-way. He signs with us pretty much immediately, just like everybody else when it comes to the two-way, besides some of the veterans that seem to be on the defense about taking a two-way or not. So Mass comes back. He's going to be an answer, probably a 7th defenseman if we could get somebody better. We got a few other guys that we got to bring back. Do we bring in Loke Johansson, who needs to be signed now as a UFA since he hasn't got his ELC yet? Do we bring him in to play that 7th defenseman? Do we see how he develops? We go ahead and enter negotiations. We're going to offer him his ELC. If he doesn't play, so be it. But if he develops, that's another player for us that we have in the system. And plus, we get the contracts to offer out. We get 3 years of control of Loke Johansson. So let's bring him aboard. He signs right away, accepts his ELC. 20 years old, 64 overall, 7th defenseman low. So he might not develop that well. So we'll see if it actually works out. Taking a look at the goalies, you got Skarek, who was pretty decent in the AHL. Do we bring him back? We no longer have Jonas Corpusalo, so now we need to sign we have to sign 3 other goalies outside of Jeremy Swayman. Since all these goalies are up, we're going to have to make a decision here. We offer Skarnik a 2-way deal, and he accepts, and he signs for a couple seasons. Actually, it wasn't 2-way because you can't do 2-way more than 1 season. So we offer him a normal contract. He signs for a few seasons, and then we go on to Brandon Bussey. He wants 2 years. We offer 2 years, $800K. Kind of the same thing as Skarnik, nice and cheap. We don't offer DPHO. We want to see what's in free agency before we offer DPHO. We want that backup goalie to be pretty decent if we can, maybe low 80s depending on what's out there. So we had a couple guys get back to us. As I said, the guys that wanted a 2-way deal but the bar wasn't necessarily full, they denied it. So we're going to enter qualify Kuntar because there's no reason to go ahead and enter negotiations when we got the control of him. So we're just going to qualify him and see what happens. Lettieri, we're probably just going to let him walk. We're not bringing back Veal, like I said. Lamb is close. We'll probably have to sign him next season. So we're going to go ahead and advance a few days and get ourselves to free agency, since we're not going to make any other changes to this roster. And now here at free agency, we could start to move some pieces. I think we're able to move Zadorov, and if we are, that contract is going to be huge. As you can see, modified no trade clause. So we're able to move him, and we already got 7 offers for him, and we got a couple that are offering 2/3. We end up taking a offer of 2/3, even though we got some 3rds and 5ths from teams that might not be competing. We take the Islanders offer of a 1/3 of their own, and then also a future 1/3 of the Colorado Avalanche. So we take that offer. We move on from Zadorov, which is phenomenal because he was costing us a lot of money for not somebody that's worth it. $5 million a year for an 82 overall left-handed defenseman was definitely not worth it. We also are going to shop Lysell around to see if anybody would take him, and we find a trade that we might take with that 2nd round pick from the Avs, and we go ahead and accept that. Move Lysell, who's not a part of our future, who we're not going to re-sign. So we move Lysell for a 2nd round pick. We move Zadorov. Now we're okay to go into free agency and stop messing around. And we got Kaprizov of all people in there. He could answer that first line left wing, but he's not really interested in the organization. But let's see if we could convince him. So he's not interested. His bar is probably halfway full on the organization. So we're going to talk to him, see if we can convince him with some of the stuff, some of the clauses and things like that, see if we can get that contract to a full bar. We add a no trade clause, a modified no trade clause for 7 years with a reduced where and towards the end of it we'll have more teams to trade him to. So far we can't really get a boost on that contract, so we ended up offering the 7 years for 12.925 with the modified no trade clause. We didn't want to go too much more than 12.925. Hopefully he signs, but he does doesn't. He rejects our offer. He goes to Seattle. Unfortunately, he doesn't answer the question on who's going to be the starting left wing on line 1. So we got to move on to plan B. Take a look at some of the other options. Duchesne's out there. He had a really good season on line 1 with Zaka and Pasternak. Will he be the answer? Maybe another stopgap contract, or he wants 2 years for $4.1 million, which is actually pretty cheap. We're going to talk to Nick Jensen, though. He could answer the right-handed defenseman third pair that we've been looking for. He wants a 2-year contract for only $2.375, which is pretty cheap, but knowing us, we want to make sure that we get this one, so we might actually improve this offer a little bit, jumping up by $500K. He's only $2.375. We jump it up to $2.875, and just to seal the deal and make sure that he comes aboard. As you can see, we're going to offer a modified no trade clause as well, something pretty simple, definitely not a full or reduced one that has probably a few teams on it, and we're going to offer one that has 6 and then 4, and that's our offer for 2 years, and he's going to actually accept it right away. We have Nick Jensen. He automatically answers that third pair right defenseman that we've been looking for since we let go of Peak. Maybe we could have brought back Peak for that money. We don't know. We went with Nick Jensen, who we like. We taking a look at Evander Kane. Could he be the left wing that we need on this line, or do we bring back Duchesne, who has some chemistry with that top line and put up some good numbers? And we're going to offer Duchesne because he doesn't want that much. $4.1 million for 2 years is very cheap, and after last year and how well he played, it's definitely an offer we're willing to go with. So we're gonna sweeten this offer a little bit with a modified a no movement clause with a modified no trade clause to see if it goes up a little bit. It does, and it looks like it's enough that he would want to come and play for Boston Bruins once again. So we send that offer for 2 years. Hopefully he doesn't fall off a cliff after year 1. He is 35 years old, so you have to worry about that, and we don't want to be paying somebody that's that old too much money. But it's only 4.1. Even if he drops down to line 2 or maybe even line 3, he'll be still serviceable. We're gonna look at Cody Sosi, who looks pretty Carson Sosi, I think it is. Carson Sosi, who looks pretty good at the left defenseman. He could be an upgrade over Mizzou. Even though we have Mizzou written down, he's only a 78 overall. So we offer Sosi to see if he could compete with that with Mizzou for that third pair left defenseman. He wants 2 years for 1.975. We send that offer. He accepts it right away. So now we got both Nick Jensen, Sosi, and we're waiting to hear back on Duchesne to see if Duchesne will come back aboard, but we feel like he will. Nick Jensen looks pretty good. He looks like he's at 86 overall. I don't know if that's fully true. That's only 2 bars, so he might actually be less than that. Taking a look at the free agency again, we got an offer for Svechnikov, who would have been a nice answer, but we brought Duchesne back, so we're not going to accept that. But Svechnikov would have been a cool little answer on that left wing. As you can see, a medium elite, but at this point we can't accept that. They wanted Vrabel, which was one of our better picks. We're looking at some trading options. You got Roslovic and Middleton, and they want just Vrabel and a few picks. And then we also took a look at Brodin and Roslovic, and that answers a few questions for us if we get Middleton or Brodin. So taking a look at that trade, we, after doing a little homework and really looking at it back and forth, I really like Middleton and Roslovic, because Roslovic will fill up that bottom 6 pretty well. He's a really good two-way type of guy, and then Middleton's a great defensive defenseman. So we ended up going with Roslovic and Middleton to help fill out this team by trading Vrabel, a second, and a second. So we get Roslovic, and we also get Middleton, who will help out that left side defenseman. We got Sosi, we got Lindholm, we got Lohrei. We add Middleton, who's a good defenseman, and Roslovic, who's a good bottom 6 type of forward. Maybe even could sneak into the top 6 depending on how he plays. Now, talking about the AHL, we got the NHL fully ramped up with all those trades. Now we got to fill the AHL, so we're looking at certain guys. We bring over a goalie in Hugo Olas, who looks pretty promising. He could be in the AHL. We'll have to call up Skevic, or we'll have to call up Bussy at this point and have a weaker backup than Korpisalo. but I think we could still end up with some wins. Taking a look at the AHL right now, we got Mitten, Letourneau, and question mark on that first line. Second line, Vesalainen, a question mark, and Gauthier. We're going to actually offer Merkulov to come and play that second line center. And then the third line's a complete question mark. We got Tufte, Harrison, and Rolston on that fourth line. Taking a look at Merkulov, we're going to offer him a two-way deal. He's a 2-year deal. He's totally into it, so we bring him back potentially. We just got to wait to hear back. On that defensive pair, we got Mizyul, we got a right D that we need. We bring in Malign, who's a young guy that could play that third line left wing, or maybe even that second line left wing. We bring in Denisenko, who's a right-handed winger that we could have play that first line right wing next to Letourneau and Mitten, both guys that we want to develop, and having a good speedster with a scoring ability, and Denisenko is going to help that. Jan Crook, who could be that 13th forward, we're going to bring him in as well. He accepts that right away. We're also looking at bringing in Poulin, who could play second line left wing if we really want to. We can move Vesalainen down, and he looks like he's a promising talent as well. So that second line's now Poulin, Merkulov, and Järnkrok. You got Vesalainen, question mark, and Gauthier. We're going to offer Steven Lorentz because we need another forward that could go up from NHL to AHL. So we offer Lorentz. Lorentz comes aboard. We got some question marks on the right-hand side of the defense. When it comes to the AHL, we'll have to figure that out. We bring in Entwistle as well. We also offer Gannett, who looks like a pretty solid piece. Gannett is a answer for that right-handed defenseman, so we bring him in. He answers that question, and now it looks like our AHL team is now kind of rounding out to be what we need. So we're looking at Tyson Yost. He's another guy that could go from AHL to NHL and could bring in some veteran leadership on that AHL squad. He's open to a two-way contract, so we bring him in for 1 year. So Tyson Yost also comes aboard. So we got Lorentz, we got Yost, we got Järnkrok, we got a few veterans to mix in with some of these young guys. Some of these guys will probably play in the NHL as a 13th, 14th forward, depending on how the lineup kind of maps out. But, you know, now that we're all set with free agency, we got all the little pieces we need. We got all the big pieces we need. The only piece that we're still waiting on is Patras, and he's going to take his time to sign. Merkulov has decided to accept our contract, so there you go. He's back with us. Is Patras going to come back with us? We don't know yet. We get offered a trade. Not something we want. We don't want to trade Sasha just yet. So taking a look at the rest of the free agency and the rest of the time, nothing comes on. We actually get more available funds for some of the owner goals that we'll have. And taking a look at the owner goals, we need 39 sellouts. We need 22 home wins. We need 22 road wins. And then we also need to be top 1 ranked in the league, which is crazy. I don't think we'll be top 1 ranked in the league. I don't know if that's a facilities thing or a actual talent thing on the ice, but it says top 1 ranked in the league. We'll see if we could get that. Rudy Bowman, who is the interim head coach, wants to talk about the preseason and what we want to do. He also wants to talk about what we think about the season. We should be a playoff team, and then we also go with a 5v5 focus for the preseason to upgrade some of the offensive awareness, defensive awareness, and things like that, and just be a better 5v5 team. We got Lauko, who wants to talk, and we have made him some promises, and he's just reassuring some of those promises we made to him for him to accept the contract. Moving on, we got Duchesne, who's also reaching out. We made some promises to him as well, so he's just reaching out to make sure that we keep up on our promises. And then we have a new coach in Joshua Adamski. Adamski comes aboard. He wants to talk about preseason and things like that. We do pretty much the same exact thing that we did with Bowman, who was the interim head coach at the time. Moving on, we're talking about Patras. Can we get him signed? He doesn't want to sign the RFA, so we're going to reach out and sign him. Now he's only wanting $800K, but we could get him for 2 years. So we're going to try to do a multi-year deal for $9.25K. Absolutely a steal. So we're going to do this pretty much right away. $9.25K. Come back aboard, Patras. We got to wait until he actually answers it, but it looks like he's going to come aboard for $9.25. And that's going to do it for this one. Now we're going to go into season 3. Hopefully we can make the playoffs again. If you're enjoying the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Is Nefarious, and I am out of here.